Hello, Algebra 1 students. Today is our last lesson of Chapter 7. I'm going to show you all of the methods that we did in the last chapter. So all the methods that we did to solve quadratics by hand. So our first method was solving by taking the square root. So what I did is I just solved for x. So to solve for x squared, got to add 90 to both sides. There's 90. So I have x squared equals 100. In order to get x by itself, I need to get rid of the square. So what I do is I take the square root. So I square root both sides, and I get x equals plus or minus 10. And remember that plus or minus. It makes a big difference, okay? But that is solving by taking the square root. You will have one of these to do by hand, no multiple choice, on the test. Method number 2 that we learned was the quadratic formula, up here. And you will have access to the formula on the test. What you need to know is that to use the quadratic formula, everything has to be on the same side of the equal sign. So that means that I would have to move 15 over to the left. And so I'd have 4x squared plus 7x minus 15 equals 0. Now I'm ready to use the quadratic formula. So to use it, I need to know what a is, I need to know what b is, and I need to know what c is. Okay? A is the coefficient of x squared, so that'll simply be 4. B is 7, and c is negative 15. So the next step, the next thing you need to do is take your quadratic formula, and everywhere you see a letter, let's put a set of parentheses. And this is actually a really important step. If you skip this, I will almost guarantee you're going to make a sign mistake at some point. Okay? So we have negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we're just going to go through and simplify these things one at a time. So first of all, the opposite of 7 is negative 7. I'm going to leave the square root up. 7 squared is 49. And we are going to subtract, let's see, 60 times 4. Actually, we're going to add, because I have a negative 4 times 4 is 16. Negative 16 times negative 15 is a positive 240, I believe. Yeah. All over 2 times 4, which is 8. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do is add these two together. So I have negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 289 over 8. So at this point, we've simplified everything under the square root. Time to see if anything, if this is a perfect square. So try the square root of 289 in your calculator, and it returns 17. So we've simplified it. So plus or minus 17 all over 8. Once you get rid of the square root, that's where this problem splits into two pieces. First, I'm going to do negative 7 plus 17 and divide it by 8. Then I'm going to do negative 7 minus 17 and divide that by 8. So this will come out being positive 10 over 8. And if I reduce that fraction, 5/4. So 5/4 is one of my answers. This one comes out to negative 24 divided by 8, which gives us negative 3. So these things are your two solutions. Everybody's favorite, factoring. And yes, you will have to do one of each of these methods on the test, okay, by hand. So, first thing we do is multiply the first and last number, so that gives us 14. I have a positive sum, so I know I'm going to have a positive times a positive. What two numbers do I multiply to get 4? Well, 2 and 7 works pretty good. Does 2 plus 7 equal 9? Then we're good. So I'm going to have x plus 2 and x plus 7. The next step is to divide by the front number. So I have x plus 1 and x plus 7/2. Now if I was asking you for the factors, you would need to continue going. But since I want the solutions, I can stop after I've divided by the front number, change the signs on these, And so I know x equals -1 or x equals -7 over 2. Okay? Moving on. Last but certainly not least, method 4, solve by completing the square. Factoring and completing the square are my two favorite because they are a lot quicker and a lot cleaner. So, the two requirements for me to be able to use completing the square is first, c term, or the number by itself, has to be on the other side, all by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now I have a squared minus 8a equals -15. The second criteria for using this is a has to have a coefficient of 1, which it does. So we're ready to go. Now remember, the whole point of this is to try to create a perfect square trinomial on the left. So I'm going to take half of -8, which is -4, square it, and add that to both sides. One place that I've seen you guys make some mistakes, and I want to make sure that you don't, is anytime you square a number, positive or negative, you will get a positive number. So this will be a squared minus 8a plus 16. And that'll equal -15 plus 16. Okay? So now I can make this a perfect square trinomial. Whatever the half was, which was -4, is what I put in the parentheses and squared it. And then I simply add the other side. Now I'm trying to solve for a, just like when we took the square root at the very beginning of the video. So if I take the square root of both sides, I now have a minus 4 equals plus or minus 1. I still want a by itself, so I add 4 to both sides, and I get a equals 4 plus or minus 1. So to get my two actual solutions, I run both ways. I'm going to say 4 plus 1 is 5, so a equals 5, and 4 minus 1 is 3, so a also equals 3. Tomorrow we will have a review, and this is your last reminder that Friday is a test over Chapter 7. The major components of the test are what I've just shown you in this video, so please make sure you understand how to work these problems because they will show up on the test. I will see you guys tomorrow.